It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
I just gave you guys the rundown for the topics here right before we crack the mics. I forgot to tell you we also will have Judd's random baseball take of the day, too. So hopefully Judd is prepared with a random baseball take. Mm-hmm. Yankees up 2-0.
Oh, yeah. No, I told you yesterday. I teased with.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm full of baseball randomness.
So
and this is random.
Judd's random baseball take. We've got a random twin of the week here. But it seems we can kind of see the engagement on podcast episodes and the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. And it's interesting that the ownership-related discussion and Twins TV situation discussion over the past few weeks have piqued the interest of the audience more than like some of the hot stove stuff that we will eventually dive more into. But let's do another episode here on ownership. Now, Judd, you predicted on Write That Down that the Pohlads would finish the sale or that a sale would be announced before the start of next season. Do you think that's
by opening day?
Like, is that a realistic? Are you just like trying to hit a home run on Write That Down, or do you think that's realistic?
One, I have no information from the inside about this, so I'm not reporting it. I'm not like surmising it from a conversation. But as I told you guys on Write That Down, the more I think about this, I don't think the Pohlads. So the Pohlads, as a lot of owners trying to sell do, are going to use or have employed a firm to search for prospective buyers. So it's not like the Pohlads are like, hey, give us a call at 1-855-GO-POHLAD and
buy Twins.
Yeah. Hello, do you want to buy the Twins? No. Okay. Hello, do you want to buy the Twins? But
press 1 if you'd like to buy the Twins. Press 2 if you're thinking about buying the Twins.
Press 3 if you think we're cheap. Press 4 if you just hate us. But the more I think about this, so the Joe Pohlad statement, or the Pohlad family statement, said that they have been giving thought to this since like June. Well, I don't think they called up the firm that's representing them last week and said, yeah, we've been thinking about this since June, and then said, let's put out a press release. I think this remained, and it's very plausible. These things, as we discussed on Write That Down, remain very hush-hush. I think they probably reached out to that firm months ago. In that firm, I'm not saying that there's a person in place, but has been sniffing around. And so the more I think about this, I don't think they make that announcement without feeling confident that they are going to sell. I don't think the Pohlads have any desire now to keep this. Like, I don't think it's a Glenn Taylor type of thing
where it's he's done it like 3 times where I'm going to sell the team, but his heart is still courtside with a 1993 sweater, holding a program.
And therein lies to me the key difference. For all Glenn's faults, he loves owning the basketball team. Like, he loves it. Courtside, hugging guys, dapping them up,
lasagna dinners.
Exactly. I think the Pohlads have decided as a family, probably, we're done. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that this was much closer to a finish line than we probably have thought. So that's why I predicted it.
So whenever they do wind up actually consummating a sale of this team, let's just go around the room here. We can start with our resident beat podcaster, Declan. What are the qualities or the new things or the different things you would like to see from new ownership group compared to the Pohlads the last 10 years, last 40 years, whatever the timeline is? What are the things you want to see?
Well, just first and foremost, I know this might sound silly just because I have to say it, but at the end of the day, I feel like I haven't heard that echoed from this ownership group ever, is I want the owner to come out and say, we are setting a championship standard and our goals are World Series. And I know that's probably a very easy blanket thing for anyone to come up and say when anyone gets hired in a position of power for a sports team. But legitimately, when was the last time that was like echoed? Like, I'm sure it maybe was in a blanket way said when they signed Carlos Correa the 2 times. But I want these owners to come in and say, we're not here for profit. We're not here for right-sizing our business. We are here to win World Series. And we want to set a precedent and a culture that gives us the ability to win a World Series and win multiple World Series, obviously, too. So first, and that's the first one off the bat. And I know, again, it's very cliche to say that, but I mean, for a fan base that has pitchforks and ready to basically have stormed the Capitol with their pitchforks, ready to burn it down, essentially, you need the owners to come in and say, we are setting a championship standard, because the Twins fans currently that have been looking at the poll ads for the better part of the last 20 years, and especially the last year, are sick of the money side and the business side. They want to win championships. So that's my first one. First and foremost, set a championship standard.
It definitely feels like they've talked more publicly about the business and the hardships of the business and right-sizing the business and business than winning in championships. And sometimes it has felt, and I don't know, maybe they would disagree with me, it's felt to me like there's a fear of throwing out a high bar and a high standard like that publicly, because it's likely you're going to fall short of it. And if you do, does that mean that you're backed into a corner and you have to make wholesale changes and fire people that you like and are friends with? It's almost felt like they've shied away from setting that standard publicly. And I don't know, maybe I'm just playing amateur psychologist, but they've definitely talked more about business than winning over the last 10, 15 years, maybe 30 years, Judd.
We can disagree, and God knows through the years we have about what the Wilfs might do, right? The moves that they might make. So like this does not, what we're about to say does not make you immune from being criticized, but the Wilfs also come out with the messaging that fans want to hear. They fire Zimmer and Spielman, and Mark Wilf does a press conference and say, we expect to win Super Bowls. Now, how you plan to get there is going to be dissected, and that's fair. We're all sports fans. That's cool. That's good. But I think there's nothing worse than when you think that the ownership is apathetic. And right or wrong, the poll ads have come across, more and more as we moved on, as apathetic. I came up with a term on Judd's hockey show yesterday for hockey players, but it also can be applied here. Because I said, there's all of these advanced metrics and stuff that we talk about that are quantified, blah, blah, blah. And I said, a lot of what I see is like eye test stuff, but I'm going to start to quantify it through what I now call the Judd engagement factor. Okay? It's the Jeff.
Is just one F on this,
yes,
Jeff? Okay.
Just one F. But the key thing is the word engagement, right? Like, if you follow a team, we watch, like, in particular, the Wolves, the Wild, the Twins, the Vikings. We watch a ton of games. And you can see engagement on the court, on the ice, on the fields, right? Like when a player is checked in, when a team is checked in, the 2024 Vikings, for instance, very engaged. And when the owners are engaged. I don't want, and this does not mean that I want whoever buys the Twins to come in here and become George Steinbrenner and start to try to run the team. But I also want to feel like they're engaged, not apathetic, and that they care. So, again, it's a fine line, because we have seen Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Guys that get too engaged, or women that get too engaged, and then it becomes a cluster bleep. But there's a happy medium. Like, I would actually say this, credit, again, to the Wilfs, right? I think the Wilfs do a very good job of being very engaged, but they allow the people that they hire to do their jobs. But there does come a certain time where they're like, okay, we're going to have to make changes.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I want.
It's funny. I had both these things. So I'll give you another one, but I had written down just in my notes for this exercise that there's a balance between being enthusiastic and involved and engaged, to use Judd's word, the Judd engagement factor.
The Jeff.
And being overbearing and impatient. Like Jerry Jones is overbearing. Dude, why are you talking to the media 3 times a week as the 82-year-old owner of the Cowboys? It's because of your ego. Why are you the general manager? Like, are you really the most qualified? So that's overbearing. You don't want someone to come in and just meddle and be the David Tepper, Carolina Panthers owner. You've seen some other baseball organizations. but it does feel like there's a distance, and some of it's personality. Like the family does not have a bunch of dynamic personalities, and I will grant them that you don't have to have a dynamic personality to be engaged and get people excited. I will read you guys some quotes from and about Phillies owner John Middleton that I think strike a major contrast between what we've seen with the Pohlad group. And now the Phillies also are like, that's a top 5 media market, and you're going to have more resources and payroll. I'll give you that. But I'll add this one to the list. Qualities we'd like to see in new owners. Be more selectively aggressive when the window is open to win big. When it could either be competitively on the field or a chance to captivate fans, because you're running a business where winning games is a driver of putting butts in seats and eyeballs on the TV, but also just capitalizing on peak moments of interest when fans are leaning forward in their seat, excited about what might come next. When you have a playoff run and you have a chance to add to that and pour some more gas on the fire, right? Maybe spend a little extra money in a period where it feels like business-wise you should scale back for the long-term good of the fan base and the goodwill. And there's been a couple times where, okay, let's go get Carlos Correa, and they bloat the payroll up to a franchise record. So I'm not saying I think that this is where I've actually gotten in heat with the fan base over the years, is like I will actually defend against the cheap Pohlad narrative sometimes, because there are years, like when they went to Target Field, they doubled the payroll from the Metrodome. They had a record payroll 2 years ago with Carlos Correa and the Buxton contract. So, but still, they don't have a knack for, okay, competitively and fan interest, it's time to make a big trade at the deadline. Let's add to this thing. Hey, I know our TV situation is up in flux, but man, that stadium was packed for 2 weeks. Fans are back. Screw the business side for a minute. Let's add. Let's keep $30 million on the payroll, right? They just know when to hit the accelerator to keep fans engaged and to add to a team that has a chance to win the championship. In the 8 years of Derek Falvey running this front office, 8 years, they've been in the mix 6 times at the trade deadline as either a playoff contender or better. They've made one aggressive trade or one deadline with aggressive trades. It was 2022. And if I'm ownership, I'm looking at Falvey and saying, dude, you're telling me we have to hang on to all of these prospects in perpetuity? Let's be aggressive every other year. Let's have confidence in our player. Part of the reason why you are employed is to find young players and keep the cupboard stocked with trade chips so that we can add in the month of July to a team that has a chance to win 95 games or 90 games and go to the playoffs. Like, be selectively aggressive and have better timing for when it's time to capitalize on peak moments.
So there's 3 things here off of what you said that I think are worth reacting to. First is the Correa thing, because yes, they went out. Now Correa was sort of falling through the cracks and it was weird and he was still out there, but they capitalized. But the problem is, the bigger problem there was, that was Joe Pohlad's first significant move. So like the fan base is like, whoa, you're different. This is great. And then, fast forward to the playoff wins against the Blue Jays. And now it's like, oh, we're on to something. And then in some type of weird manic behavior, you pull it all back. Like they would have been, from a public relations standpoint, they would have been better off never doing Correa than getting people all jacked up and excited and then saying, just kidding, now we got to cut. That's the first thing. The other thing is, as far as the engagement goes, it's one thing. So I think what you don't want is this, and this would be like a Judd type of move, but obviously I don't own the team, which is probably a good thing. You shouldn't think, oh man, ownership didn't blow out Falvey and Rocco on that, last day. Like they should have fired them all. We could debate these things, but I'll say it again, to go in an hour before a first pitch of a disastrous ending and say, everybody's safe. Like, have some PR sense. Say we're gonna look at things. We might come back on Wednesday and say they're all safe. At least give me the idea that you're engaged enough to actually look at things instead of just very condescendingly from Falvey and Joe Pohlad saying, no one's in trouble here. Yeah. And then you blow out hitting coaches who Baldelli just defended, which much like the thing with our friend and poor guy Corey Provis last winter, you put him on a conference call to say blackouts are dead, and everyone's like, yeah, blackouts are dead. And then in February, you're like, just kidding, blackouts alive and well, and we're back on Bally. And the last engagement thing that drove me crazy was this. The Twins have claimed, I've seen it reported in certain places, the Twins have claimed, well, the Comcast thing, we didn't even know the Bally's contract wouldn't get done. We didn't know that wouldn't get done. So that's not really on us. Okay.
Dude. Yeah,
okay.
It is.
Well, and second of all,
it's your business.
On or off the record, do not admit that. You look worse. So you didn't care enough? Like, these are your partners. Like, you should know everything that's going to impact you, right?
100%.
And if you really were saying, hey, we didn't know it was coming, we thought it would get done. It got done with everybody else. That is not an excuse. Better. That makes you look like an ass. So, like, these are all.
I guess I had assumed that they knew that there was a May 1st deadline.
The Athletic reported that the Twins were blindsided by the fact that it didn't get done.
That's wild.
That's worse than anything.
That is wildly incompetent.
Yes.
It is. Like, there's no other way to say it, man.
And they reported it on background, which leads me to believe the Twins offered that up, at which point I would say, who's running the show here to tell you that? Just fall on the sword.
Like, my blood pressure needs to be monitored right now. I got all worked up in these last 15 minutes.
How about Declan? He's been a raving maniac for a month now.
I know.
I'm actually relatively calm today.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm calm on the exterior, but I don't know, after what Judd just said. So, yeah, I saw this on the SI website, and it's a feature about Phillies owner John Middleton and how, to Judd's point earlier, he seems to walk the line perfectly of being super engaged, super involved, but letting the Dave Dombrowskis and the front office, the field staff, and the players operate however they need to as professionals. I'm just going to read you some excerpts from this. So from Nick Castellanos was quoted saying, "This isn't a job or an asset in his portfolio. He really wants to win. He's not Santa Claus, but I think that he uses some really good judgment, and if our wants are valid and justified, he will come up with the money. Middleton is matter-of-fact about the improvements that he's made over the years. I told Dave Dombrowski since the day he arrived here, your job is to figure out what you have to do to put a championship team on the field. My job is to figure out how to get you the money to put the championship team on the field." And Middleton adds, "The best CEOs don't hide behind a desk in an office. They're out in their business. They're talking to customers, talking to employees." And JT Realmuto, who was traded from the Marlins to the Phillies, there's an excerpt here about, so he knew that the Phillies were a world-class organization and they had a lot of great things in place. But one thing that they didn't have was a great chartered plane situation. So he comes from the Marlins, and he mentions to John Middleton the difference between the Marlins and Phillies travel situation. Miami chartered a Delta Boeing 757 that had been fitted with custom card tables and extra first-class seats. The Phillies were flying a standard commercial United jet. So when he signed a 5-year, $115 million deal to stay with Philadelphia in 2021, Realmuto casually mentioned the difference to Dave Dombrowski. Dombrowski called his boss, owner John Middleton, and the next season the Phillies were on the same type of plane that Miami had. So what did that change cost? Middleton taking a break from gathering balls during batting practice and handing them to fans, shrugs and says, quote, "I don't care what it cost. I really don't care. I do care if the players get on a plane and they're like, oh man, look at these cheap sons of bleeps." Now, I am not sitting here saying that the Twins have like a bad plane situation. I'm not saying that. Right. And the Twins do have great facilities at Target Field. But it's more the picture that's being painted of John Middleton. He's intermingling with fans. He has relationships with players, but not out of bounds, not stepping over Dave Dombrowski. And he's telling Dave Dombrowski, hey, championships, that's your focus. I'll figure out how to get the money. And obviously, I'm not Santa Claus. I'm running a business here. But that's in the background. The running a business, I'm not Santa Claus, is in the background of we want to win a championship. I mean, that's the type of, that's what you get, I think, from the Wilfs, even though these other leagues are not really comparable because the salary caps prevent those owners from losing money. Baseball, not the case. But like I read this and thought, yeah, that's the vibe that I want to feel from new Twins ownership.
Mm-hmm. And that term of management by wandering around, which is talked about in this SI piece. So I kind of love that too. And there is a interesting line you have to walk there because you don't want to be Jerry Jones, where you're literally wandering around probably as this like old codger guy who's a little whack job. But you also want someone that makes everyone's job still feel like a job and be held accountable. So, like Balvey and Rocco, for sure, like, did they do the most perfect job? No. Was there grounds move on from them? Yes, but that was just completely kicked to the curb right before the season ended and said, no, they're safe. They're 100% safe. It's like you don't want to take the week and maybe examine some of this stuff. Like, hey, do we have the right people in place? And for sure, are they already doing that over the last month of the season? Yeah, I'm sure they are doing evaluations. But having an owner and having the precedent from the tippy top, from where the pyramid starts, to having that culture set down of winning, of championships, of accountability is incredibly important. And I think it was lacking, obviously, under the poll ads in this current group.
Do we think they understood what they like they knew it was a collapse, but I don't know that they did judge things. I don't know that this current incarnation has the ability to accurately judge things like that.
Dude, I think everyone involved, from poll ads to Falvey to Rocco,
yeah,
I think everyone looks at it as a fluke. They look at the last 6 weeks as like a fluke,
which is death.
Oh man, we just got excuse number one, excuse number two, and yeah, there's some things that we could do better, but I mean, the players, a lot of it was like the players, and Royce Lewis kind of felt that. And yeah, there's like the pie chart of blame. Definitely, players need to play better, but there's a lot of other things that stack up on top of that. It's not a fluke when it happens twice in 3 years. It happened in 2022,
right,
and then it happened in 2024 again.
Right.
I don't know that you can just say, small sample size fluke, 8-year track record, get out of my face.
And you also, though, just had if we were only talking about the collapse, yeah, it's a baseball thing. It's frustrating. It feels like more than a fluke because that clubhouse didn't feel like a fluke. Like, oh, we're still together, but we're not doing well. That clubhouse felt like it was fracturing. Yeah. But we're talking about an entire season of incompetence. Like, off the field, the TV thing, coming out and saying we're slashing payroll, and not just by $10 million, $30 million. Like they were, I don't think, and we have talked about this, but I think it's been ignored around town. To me, the snapshot, the most important thing is this team was challenging for first place, playing really well for a large portion of the most beautiful months in this state. And fans were still pissed. And a lot of fans didn't show up. Like that to me is if there's one reason why the poll ad should sell, it's that. Like you managed this thing right into the ground. You had not a little some PR things were off. You had no PR sense. Like if they hadn't collapsed, I think we would have had to ask some serious questions if they were in the wild card round again and had tickets like they did a year ago for the Toronto series available. Are those all gobbled up again? Because yeah, that's my point.
No.
So, but that's not a fluke.
Yeah.
Like to me, from a business standpoint, is far more concerning than the on the field collapse. That is what you're saying is incredibly damning.
Yeah. Cause again, like back to the part of the beginning of the conversation, there's the winning and the losing affects fan interest. And they haven't done a lot of winning. They think they do more winning than they do. The twin, like from the top down, the Twins think they do more winning than they do. But since 1991, they are 21st in win percentage. They have 9 playoff game victories, while teams like the Diamondbacks have 28, the Rays have 28, the Astros have 77, the Braves have like 90 or 80 or 90 over that stretch. And the Twins have only won 90 games twice since Target Field opened. Like, it's not, you talk about 8-year track record. Now we're just back to, we've kind of lost the thread of what you want in new ownership, and we're just bitching about the old. But
well, I want I want somebody who
It was hardly the worst of times. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It was hardly the worst of times.
I want somebody who
It wasn't the worst of
understands
times. I will give you that.
what he or she is doing and has a passion for it. And that doesn't mean I want them in the dugout. It doesn't mean I want them making phone calls Steinbrenner-esque during games. But I want somebody who's passionate about the fact that I own a baseball team. And this is really important. And I understand that it's not just a business. Like, nobody wants to lose their shorts. But if you buy a sports team with, I am going to make money off this thing and I don't care. Like, you could bitch like Patrick does about the Wilfs, got state help. Yes, they did get a ton of help. But at the end of the day, in the time I covered the Vikings, and you too, Phil, they've gone from Winter Park, which was a piece of crap, old, gorgeous when it opened in like 82, but a piece of crap, the Metrodome, which was a piece of crap, to a state-of-the-art practice facility now ranked by players among the best, and a stadium that is awesome. So, like, we can complain about it, but keep in mind, the Twins are now playing in a stadium that I still consider awesome.
It is. It is one of the best stadiums.
And guess what? They got help from the county. So you don't get off the hook of, well, the Wilfs have it easy. Yeah, the NFL, much more successful. Salary cap helps. But it's not like the Twins are still stuck in the dome. The Twins have a gorgeous facility, which, by the way, when they moved to, you upped the payroll and told us this is going to catapult us. And now what? 14 years, 15 years after the fact, it's like, oh, back down to, sorry, we can't do it. I want engagement. I want passion.
Yep. I have a random twin for you guys, but let's do quick Judd's random baseball take of the day here. All right.
Okay. As delivered, as promised yesterday, teased to, I want to talk about scorekeeping. Now, this started off on the wild pitch pass ball conversation. Because I said that if you have a guy on third base and you're on one knee as a catcher, as we saw, 2 wild pitches scored 2 runs against Cleveland for the Yankees 2 nights ago. What are you doing when you know that the pitcher is basically going with like sliders and stuff, spiking the ball, not trying to block the ball first? Why are you on one knee trying to steal the strike? And John Smoltz evidently said that and was quickly proven wrong because he said, well, pass balls have increased. That's not the case. Pass balls have not increased. This is part of what I want to rant about when it comes to scorekeeping in the modern day edict from baseball. This does not have to do with the individual scorekeepers around the league. Declan has seen this. Phil, you probably have too. But the reality is this. Baseball, when it comes to wild pitches or pass balls, it's always a wild pitch now. But far, far more offensive is this one. Hits and errors. There were, this season at Target Field, there's about, including our guy Stu Thornley, there's about 4 or 5 official scorers who rotate series and games. And we saw some atrocious hit calls this year on what were clearly errors. But why? It's not because these people are idiots. It's because for the past couple of years, any questionable, hey, a big league fielder or outfielder should have made that play. If you call it an error, 48 hours after the fact, it's changed to a hit. It is the most pathetic, obvious way that baseball is trying to, and by the way, they're failing miserably. They're trying to jack batting averages back up. So they're trying to say, look at the offense, look at all the hits, look at all the hits. Declan can chime in on this too, and we both keep score of a ton of games. The amount of times
it's a great flex, by the way.
That
we
you
both
would mark,
keep score.
We do. Old school. Dex has the Bob Carpenter book, which I love.
Yep.
I get the scorecards at the games that the Twins stick in the press box. But the amount of times that you could mark E4 and then, the official scorer comes on. Base hit. It's like bull bleep. That's a base hit. This is a baseball thing. Let's call an error. Let's quit with this BS of trying to jack batting averages. 1, it's not working, and 2, it's offensive to anyone who plays Major League Baseball.
Wow.
I keep score. I keep score for obviously to keep myself engaged throughout the game, and it's a fun little thing to do, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm not crazy about keeping the finest book by any means. Like, I'll forget pitching lines for relief. Like, I just do it for just for simplicity of it keeps you engaged literally at bat by at bat of you can write something down. But there are some just absurd things that happen with official scoring that is just hilarious to me, that they don't rev me up clearly as much as Judd. But it is still a hilarious thing to watch.
These idiots that change the errors to hits is what revs me up. It's not the scorers. I don't blame them.
So you're just real quick. Your premise is that there are far fewer errors being called, and we're loosey goosey giving hits on borderline plays to goose batting averages, right?
And I'm talking about from plays I've seen that are just clearly errors.
So you're right statistically. 20 years ago, compared to, so I went back 2004, same number of teams, same number of games, 1,458 games being played in baseball. Yeah, it looks like there might be like a couple stragglers here and there where, like, you know, a team didn't finish the last game because of rain or something, right?
Sure.
There were, across the league, there were 600 fewer errors called in 2024 compared to 2004.
Wow.
600!
There you go. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And there aren't 600 fewer fielding mistakes.
Maybe we're just better wizards with the gloves. And the shifting has maybe made it easier to...
Yeah, the shifting, too, is probably a big thing here.
Oh,
like,
sure.
You can't shift anymore.
Sure.
Like, to past a certain point. So that also might have a thing.
Okay, I'll give you what was the game, Dex, that we were at, late season game, Twins, and I forget whom, and there was a ball hit. Was it hit the left field, and it went off the guy's glove.
Oh yeah,
and they called it a hit. Asinine.
Yeah,
Asinine.
that was bad. That was.
But they didn't call it a hit because the scorer was like, well, I don't really know what I'm. These people know what they're doing.
For sure.
They know that if they call that an error, some moron on Park Avenue at MLB offices in 48 hours is going to change it to a hit. So they're like, we give up.
It's agents and players and then they go to PR, and then
Well, Phil, you saw that back in the day.
Oh, it's.
In fact, they've moved scores.
It's everywhere.
They moved the score out of the main press box because of the harassment team officials would give the score.
True, yes.
They stuck them in a booth now.
Single advance on the throw. Single advance on the throw. That's also one of the. Is a good one.
In fact, I would argue that in Phil's day of covering the Twins, because of where the score was based,
he was sitting like 3 seats down from team officials.
You would see once a game. You sure about that?
Oh, I used to get screamed at from random American Association players when I was interning at the Saints, having to give box scores the other game, and I'm not the official score. I am
the independent minor league players are worried about their batting averages?
Oh my god, dude! I had been reprimanded by so many, and I'm the lowly media relations intern. I am the lowest outside of the Usher Tainer. I am the lowest totem pole guy that's in this ballpark right now. And you're telling me that I'm first off, I don't do the official scoring. I am here to simply hand you the box score. And then I have to go back up. I would tell Sean, hey, so-and-so is upset. You gave an error. I'll take care of it.
Funny, man.
It's absurd.
But baseball reviews everything now. So they literally review these plays and just change them to hits.
Yeah. That's Judd's random baseball take of the show here.
I've had that pent up for a long time. I'm glad I finally could get
Hopefully you feel a little bit less
I keep
tension.
Score a lot. I know what I'm watching.
Oh. Are you guys ready for a random twin of the week?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Where we pit two members of the show against each other. So I lost last week, which means I throw the clues out here. Judd versus Declan. You guys get up to 3 strikes each. If one of you hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. I will throw out clues. You guys can throw guesses out whenever you want to. The last handful of random twins are Casey Fiend, Logan Morrison, Todd Jones, Sam Dyson, Randy Bush, and Otis Nixon. So far, I have 23 career wins. Declan with 20. Judd with 16 career victories.
16 for like a month and a half now. Again, I go through these huge dry spells.
You got Randy Bush correct, but it's been quite some time since your Butch Weininger, Kenny Rogers back-to-back.
I had a nice
victories.
run. I am streaky.
In fact, the last time Judd
I don't want to talk about this
was correct on a 2000s twin or more recent was Grant Balfour back like 4 months ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do well. I mean, Dex has those pretty well. I mean, he grew up with that. It'd be like if you did a 1979 twin, I'd probably get it.
We'll see if you can
Like
pinpoint
Butch.
the era
That was a
here.
clue. Maybe that was a clue.
Harold Butch Weiniger.
Am I going to go skew toward Judd with an old school twin or skew toward Dex with a new school twin or somewhere in between? All right, here's the clues. This random twin was a first-round draft pick. He was actually drafted twice, like a lot of baseball players are, where you get drafted, then you go to college. But he wound up being a first-round draft pick.
All right, I'm just checking my.
Yeah, no Googling.
No, I know. I'm checking my random twin.
In high school, as a junior, this random twin hit .509 with 14 bombs, 46 RBIs. As a junior in high school.
All right, I'm going to take a guess.
Okay.
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to guess it's an in between. Not an old school Judd, but not a newer
Judd
school.
coming out aggressive here.
Yeah, I'm going to go down swinging. David McCarty.
I mean, if I lose, I'm mad if that happened.
Okay.
It's a good guess. It is not David McCarty. By the way, in that year as a junior in high school where he hit .509 with 14 jacks and 46 runs driven in, his team went 36-0. No, I'm sorry. Actually, the next year, apparently, he went 36-0, like his team in high school, and they won the 4A state championship.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. This random twin, 6 different Major League Baseball teams.
Okay, that takes out a few guys I had in mind.
Hold on, I got to look back at the list again.
Yeah, you can control that.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
This random twin was a 2-time All-Star, 2 different teams.
Okay. No, I won't be that
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
2-time All-Star.
Okay.
Was one of them the Twins?
Not sure I want to answer that, but
Okay,
I'll answer it. No, it's a no.
Okay.
It's a no.
Okay.
It's a no on the Twins.
I was figuring you wouldn't if it was a yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of boxed in when you. It's a good question to ask.
That's what I do.
His best season by most statistical measurements came with the White Sox.
Joe Creedy.
Ooh, Joe Creedy.
We've had Joe Creedy. You
Have we?
missed on. I won Joe Creedy.
Yeah, Judd did win Joe Creedy.
Well,
Joe
that
Creedy.
was stupid. All right.
No, I appreciate that. We're tied at 1 now.
Yep.
So his best season came with the White Sox.
Well, it's not. I have another one in mind, but it's not him.
This random twin
Wait.
was a World Series champion.
And it wasn't.
Wait. Give me 1 second here before the next clue. No, he didn't have his best season with the White Sox. Okay.
I would say I was a little. I don't think you would think if you're gonna eventually hear the name of this player. I don't know that like White Sox would be the team that you thought he had his best season with. I'll give you that clue. I don't think that the White Sox are the first team you would associate with his best season.
Wait a minute.
Was this guy a White Sox? I mean, I am functioning at a high caffeine intake right
I am
now.
very upset I burned that first guess.
I'm going to go back to high school here because I told you that as a junior he hit .509 with 14 homers and 46 RBIs.
Yeah.
As a pitcher, he posted a 1.26 ERA with 160 strikeouts in 100 innings
Okay.
and 3 saves.
Yeah.
Just a good ball player all around.
Yeah. I've got a feeling I know what you're doing. You've done this before now. I can tell.
Is he a hitter or is he a pitcher?
I know. what
You
you're
don't
doing
know now.
Yeah, because you love to give the batting average
Yeah.
crap, and then we go down like rabbits. We're going down the wrong path, and then you shoot us.
Good lord.
I'm full of caffeine right now. Forgive anything I say.
Just fired up. I'm fired up because it's chicken tender
guy
basket
played-
day in the Hubbard cafeteria.
Yeah,
4
I'm not
meetings
in.
and chicken tender baskets. You got to go into your meeting just slobber in the chicken
Oh, it's
tender.
gonna be great.
You got to have the sauces.
Not
It's a-
in today.
Hold on a second here before I answer that. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Oh God, what was that guy's name?
This random twin once played in the Little League World Series. So he's played in the Little League World Series and the actual World Series.
That's not Chrissy Wendell, but she played in the Little League World Series for Park Center.
It's not Chrissy Wendell.
And it's not, what was the name of the Chris Drury played in the Little League World Series.
He made his major league debut on June 2nd, 2011.
And you only said he was a first-round pick. You didn't say of what
Yeah,
team.
out of Ole Miss, by the way. First-round pick out of Ole Miss.
Okay, the Little League World Series gets me because I would think that someone would pop to mind.
Let's see here. I'll look up his college
Two-time
stats.
All-Star. No, I was going to guess somebody, but he wasn't a two-time All-Star.
So at is Ole Miss on here? Oh, they don't track. I guess we don't do college stats back
2011.
Feel.
Two-time All-Star now with the Twins.
Two-time
Oh my God,
All-Star.
who is this SOB?
He only played in 20 games for the Twins.
Oh God.
Okay, you've really done it now, Mackie. You've really done it now. So only 20 games?
Only 20 games with the Twins.
Okay.
Did he play in 20 games? Or did he pitch in 20 games?
He's not gonna.
Should I give you that clue now? I'll give you this clue. I'll give you this clue.
I just like to ask questions.
On I don't even know what year, but probably not that long ago. He defeated the Rangers, becoming the 23rd pitcher to earn a victory against all 30 MLB teams. He's also still active.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
Last year, he played for the team that drafted him in the first round.
I feel like to beat all 30 teams in like only a 13-year size is incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
I feel like that
because
takes like
it
15 to 20
Is
years.
it Lance Lynn?
Oh God, bless it!
Yes!
Lance, dude.
Yes! I told you we could do it, Mr. Coffee. I told ya.
Mr. Coffee.
Just jack
I was
yourself
gonna
up on coffee and you're going to get it.
I was going to answer Declan's clue or Declan's question by saying, I think the perception Twins fans have of this pitcher is wildly different than his actual effectiveness on the mound in the regular season.
Horse's ass here.
Like
but
he's
yes.
pitched, he's 364 career starts. He's a horse, a 3.74 ERA, just
Literally
a rock solid
Literally a horse.
starting pitcher.
He
except for the
claimed,
Twins.
who was I talking to? Was it a broadcast? I was talking to somebody this summer who said that, they talked to Lance and said, something along the lines of, you seemed miserable here. And he's like, no, I actually liked it there. It's like, dude, if you liked it here, you had a weird way of showing it.
Yeah.
I think he was going through a divorce here as well, though. I think he was just getting divorced.
That's the thing. You never know with athletes, like if they're going through something.
Well, and he was mad about the money. There's no question he expected to be signed.
He still made like $12 million or something.
And then he was, well, and I think he liked the Cardinals. He was probably the second unhappiest guy of all time to come from the Cardinals to the Twins, only trailing the great Tommy Herr.
Yeah. So, Judd, congratulations. A hard-fought victory, 17th career win
Little League World Series.
in Random Twin of the Week. Yeah, 1999 Little League World Series.
99. God, that really threw me.
Yep. All right.
Dex is fuming, by the way.
He just deep sighs. All right, SKOR North Twin Show. Excited for more of Judd's random baseball takes and some hot stove conversations in the coming days and weeks.